discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. It came out of me and I didn't know what to do.
Lexi, I told you about this. I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
I've never seen anything like that. I pray to God I never see it again.
This shocking body cam footage of teenager Alexi Trevizo reveals a harrowing scene that left nurses, police, and the entire community reeling. A visit to the hospital for back pain turned into a nightmare no one in Artesia, New Mexico could have imagined. What was supposed to be a routine checkup became the scene of a crime that would shake the quiet town to its core. Alexi Trevizo grew up in Artesia, a small town where everyone knew each other and reputations mattered. To her friends and neighbors, she was a bright, outgoing teenager, always smiling and eager to participate in school and community activities. At Artesia High School, Alexi was everywhere, cheerleading on the sidelines, volunteering at local events, and effortlessly drawing people in with her charm. Teachers often praised her intelligence and potential, imagining a bright future ahead. Yet beneath her cheerful exterior, subtle signs of inner struggle occasionally surfaced. Friends sometimes noticed mood swings or quiet, withdrawn moments, but these were dismissed as typical teenage behavior. Everything changed on the 27th of January 2023. Alexi arrived at Artesia General Hospital with her mother, complaining of severe back pain. Hospital staff, concerned about her condition, conducted preliminary tests and placed her in a private room for observation. Periodically, nurses checked on her, noting her distress but unaware of what was about to unfold. When Alexi asked to use the restroom, she was allowed privacy, but she stayed inside far longer than expected. Nurses grew concerned and knocked on the door, only to be met with a pale, disoriented teenager as she emerged. What they found inside the restroom would horrify everyone: a newborn baby, lifeless, hidden in a trash bag, wrapped in a manner that suggested intentional concealment. Immediate attempts to resuscitate the infant failed, confirming the worst fears. Law enforcement was called to the hospital, and Alexi was questioned by police and medical professionals. The scene sent shockwaves through the hospital and beyond, leaving the community stunned at how a seemingly ordinary teenager could be involved in such a tragic and disturbing act.
We discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. It came out of me and I didn't know what to do.
Lexi, I told you about this. I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
Scared. It was not crying or nothing.
What did you do to it?
Okay, stop right here. Stop. Number one priority, guys. Number one priority is she just had a baby. I don't know if she's delivered the placenta. She's bleeding significantly.
Like, how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What? 9 months?
Nothing was crying.
Lexi, have you watched the news of the girls that what they do to their babies and what they go to jail?
Nothing was crying.
I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
And nothing was crying.
Because Alexi had committed a crime by giving birth and then killing her baby by disposing in trash bag, the hospital staff felt it was necessary to involve the police. The officer informed the mother about the matters that would follow and then took her outside for further investigation.
You know, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know she was pregnant. I didn't know. I just thought, like she said, I have back pain more. My hips are hurting me. I think I need to go to the chiropractor. I said, okay, let's go tomorrow. But she was like in really a lot of pain and, you know.
When did it start?
Like the pain?
Yes.
Yesterday she said it was really bad, that her hips were hurting and her back. And then last night we're on the phone together and she said her hips were hurting bad. I said, asked her if anything else was hurting. And she said just everything. And she went to sleep.
But she's a cheerleader too, so she's big in cheers. They have cheer competition. She works out. I mean,
And she's been active this whole time?
Yeah, she's been active this whole time.
According to the medical staff, Trevizo was still experiencing heavy bleeding after giving birth and required specialized care from an obstetrician at a trauma center. She was airlifted by helicopter to another facility for treatment. Meanwhile, detectives began piecing together the events of that night. In their interviews with hospital personnel, one detail stood out. the staff's horrified reaction to the condition of the bathroom after Trevizo had left.
All I saw was like blood everywhere, like on the walls, on the toilet. It just looked like a horror film.
When I went in there, it was a bloody massacre mess.
Could you describe it if possible?
Yeah, there was blood everywhere.
There was quite a bit of blood in there.
She started feeling a little better, and then she said she needed to go have a bowel movement, and that's kind of when the whole thing happened.
So what did you do after that? So when she went to do the bowel movement, where were you at?
Initially, I was at the nurse's station, and then at some point I went and kind of checked on her, knocked on the door, seen if she needed anything. She denied. She said she didn't need anything.
Did you hear anything?
I didn't hear anything.
Flush the toilet flush?
Yes, after a while I started hearing. So I probably checked on her 2 to 3 times, I'm not exactly sure. And then I just kept hearing paper towel dispenser and flushing and like the water running. And I knocked again, did she need anything? Denied anything. And then eventually it got to a point where I said, you need to come out. And I asked the clerk to get the key to unlock the door, because obviously she locked the door to go to the restroom. And whenever we finally had the key to unlock it, she opened it and just kind of walked out.
During her police interview, Alexi appeared both confused and deeply distressed. Even in the face of overwhelming evidence, she insisted that she had not given birth, a claim investigators saw as either shock or outright denial. Forensic testing would later confirm without doubt that Alexi was the baby's mother, firmly tying her to the case. Following this revelation, officers secured a search warrant for her home as the investigation pressed forward.
She has a warrant for arrest, okay?
For what?
That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay?
What do you mean that's all you're going to tell me?
She's over the age of 18.
I understand that, but I have a right to know as well.
We'll tell you that, but we
Okay, then let me know now.
need the cooperation.
Let me know now. I'm giving you the cooperation. I told you answer my question. What is she under arrest for?
Like I said, she's over the age of 18. Like, that we can't really put that information, but bring her out here, we'll tell you.
What is she under arrest
bring her out here,
for?
we'll tell you everything.
No, I'm not bringing her out here yet. Let me know what she's under
She's
arrest
gonna
for.
get arrested regardless. I mean, I don't know why.
For what? For what? For what?
Are you okay with telling me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me.
Homicide. Open count of homicide. And tampering with evidence.
Tampering with evidence?
Yes.
At the hospital?
Yes.
So, can you see her now?
Give me a minute.
Alexi's mother tried her best to resist the police, but the officers had come fully prepared. They informed her that they had a warrant for Alexi's arrest on charges of tampering with evidence at the hospital. At first, her mother refused to call Alexi, but when the officers would not back down, she had no choice. In the end, Alexi was handed over to the police. There was simply no other option.
Exactly.
Alright. What's your name?
Lexi.
Okay. What's the last 4 of your social?
She don't even know it.
You don't know it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Alexi, do you know your date of birth?
Yes.
Okay.
What is it?
11/25/3.
Yeah.
Do you have to walk her all the way over there? Can you bring a car up there? Please.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
That's all. Just please.
I'll go get it.
Alexi, are you okay with your mom getting your criminal complaint when we get to the detention center? It has your personal information
Can
on
you
it.
repeat that?
Are you okay with your mother getting the criminal complaint? It has your personal identifying information.
Officers verified Alexi's identity and informed her of the charges. They asked if she was comfortable with her mother receiving the complaint. Because she was still bleeding, they let her gather sanitary items. She was then escorted to the detention center for processing.
3200 West Main Street, the Public Safety Complex. If you just go through the front door, you know where we first spoke in the records?
Yeah.
If you just go over there. Is there any four?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll meet her in the front.
Okay. I'll get with him and do all stuff, go to dispatch.
Okay. I'll meet you in the front, okay?
We're Tampa. I'll be headed your way shortly.
Relay the rest.
I'll be headed your way for the relay shortly.
The legal proceedings against Alexi began soon after the incident. Prosecutors charged her with first-degree murder and child abuse resulting in death, citing evidence that the baby had been deliberately concealed and abandoned.
Conducting an investigation.
Investigation of her medical condition?
Well, investigation of what led to the baby being put in the trash.
No, she says.
But if they're investigating,
She
you
says.
got Miranda.
Well, Miranda requires custody and interrogation, which I'll get to in a minute. But my point is that there's no legal bar to the police going into the exam room. Now, granted, I admit, had the doctor said, "Look, I need to talk to her. I don't want you in there yet. Can you hold on while I talk to her?" I think the police, you can tell from the video, they were very deferential to the doctor. One thing I wanted to point out, because I believe now is a really good time to say that, there's a lot in the answer brief that suggests that the police presence there caused a delay or hinder treatment of some kind, or even delayed possibly her being flown to Roswell. I want to be very clear. There is absolutely zero evidence in the record that would support any fact finder in finding that any medical procedure or care was hindered or delayed, or that they even had anything to do with the helicopter arriving. So what I would say is, the best answer I have is I don't believe there was a medical reason for the police to be in there, but clearly the doctor did not say, "I want to talk to her in private. I don't want you in there yet. I know we called the police, we called you, but please don't go in there yet. I need to talk to her." Do they have a legal reason to be in there? Yes. Now, might it have been
What's the legal reason?
Well, they're investigating this, and they probably want to, at some point.
Watching her get a pelvic exam, is that investigation?
Well, later on in the video, there is a point in the video when the nurse says, will you two please step out? And the police do. They step out of the hallway because there was probably medical.
Was that hindering their investigation? Asking them to leave?
No, it wasn't hindering at all. And the police were very polite. They went out in the hallway. Another thing I wanted to mention too, and again, I think some of this is more clear when you sort of watch the video from beginning to end. There's a point in the video, pretty much exactly at 3:00, where you see the police are out in the hallway, and they say to the nurse, they say, "Well, we don't really want to go in there and cause her more stress. She's dealing with a lot." And at that point, at 3:00, you see the sergeant and the other officer go back into the room when they've clearly been out in the hallway. And the sergeant says, "Look, we're going to continue waiting out in the hallway. We don't want to add to your stress. We know this is stressful." And the sergeant even explains,
Alexi's defense team argued that she was a frightened teenager who acted out of panic and denial rather than malice.
The only place she could get help, she went to the hospital. That's what everybody would think that she should do. And she did everything that the nurses and doctors required her to do, and everything people were telling her to do. Now, the other matter is that the state's not going to have certain evidence that they can introduce. For example, all the video film and all the stuff that should have been confidential, and all the testing and this sort of thing should have been confidential. So can they make a case otherwise? I don't think they can, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try. They can make a case by saying, listen, we have this child that wasn't born alive. Can they say that the child was born alive? We can have a big argument among experts about that. Was the child in such a state that without immediate medical help, the child wouldn't have survived, or could the child have survived? She's in great distress because she's in a jail and never been there before, and didn't do anything to deserve being there. I don't care what the state of New Mexico may allege. She's at the only facility where she can get help, and then this happens. I have serious problems with that. I have serious problems with the hospital care. I have serious problems with the records we're now getting out of that hospital, because I don't think it's necessarily correct and honest.
Treviso's attorney claims there's more to the story.
They did some lab work, but they gave the medication before and gave it anyway, and that's powerful painkiller.
The case of Alexi Treviso quickly captured national attention, evolving into one of the most widely discussed stories of its time. What began as a shocking local tragedy in the small town of Artesia, New Mexico, soon escalated into a media sensation that stirred debate across the country. Television networks, newspapers, and online platforms were flooded with coverage, each report adding fuel to a conversation that became both emotional and divisive. As the story spread, public opinion fractured. On one side were those who viewed Alexi as a victim of her circumstances, a young woman overwhelmed by fear, confusion, and the pressures of growing up in a small, tightly knit community where privacy was scarce and judgment was swift. These voices argued that her actions, while tragic, were the result of desperation, compounded by the lack of adequate support systems for teenagers facing unplanned pregnancies. On the other side were those who saw her decisions as inexcusable. To them, Alexi's actions crossed a line that demanded accountability, with many insisting she face the maximum penalty allowed under the law. The case became more than a story about one girl and one tragic night. It became a lens through which society examined itself. Issues like teenage pregnancy, mental health, and the effectiveness of the justice system were suddenly thrust into the spotlight. For parents, educators, and policymakers, Alexi's case forced difficult questions. How could a young woman conceal her pregnancy so successfully, even from family and friends? What drove her to such desperate measures? And, most importantly, could this tragedy have been prevented with better resources and support systems in place? For many advocates of mental health awareness, the case highlighted the silent struggles faced by countless teenagers. They argued that Alexi's story was not unique, that young people across the country grapple with hidden battles, often without access to proper counseling, education, or safe spaces to seek help. In their view, this tragedy underscored the urgent need to invest in mental health services and social support systems that could intervene before such devastating outcomes occur. Others, however, focused on the principle of accountability. They argued that, while systemic shortcomings may have contributed, personal responsibility could not be ignored. To them, Alexi's choices carried irreversible consequences, and no amount of external pressure could erase the weight of her actions. This perspective underscored the need for justice, not only for the child whose life was tragically lost, but also for a community left reeling in the aftermath. Despite a thorough investigation and the slow, painstaking pace of legal proceedings, many questions remain unanswered. How did Alexi manage to conceal her pregnancy for so long, even from those closest to her? And what inner struggles led to her fateful decisions? Was it fear of shame, a lack of knowledge, or the crushing isolation she felt? These questions linger, haunting the town and those who knew her. Would the outcome have been different if she had access to better support, guidance, or emotional resources? Artesia, once celebrated for its close-knit bonds and small-town warmth, was shaken to its very core. Neighbors who once took pride in knowing and supporting one another now grapple with shock, disbelief, and profound sorrow. The tragedy didn't only affect Alexi's family, it rippled through schools, friendships, and households, forcing parents and teens to confront difficult conversations about responsibility, secrecy, and the importance of seeking help. As Artesia slowly heals, Alexi's story stands as a somber reminder of the need for awareness, empathy, and proactive support for young people facing unseen struggles. It challenges society to look deeper, to recognize the hidden pressures teenagers endure, and to ensure that resources are available to guide them through life's most challenging moments. Only then can tragedies like this be prevented, and only then can communities begin to rebuild the trust and security they once took for granted. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. By keeping these conversations alive, we can work together to create a safer, more compassionate world for the next generation.